Greatness is earned through diligence, discipline, a consistent work ethic, and exercising patience. If God Himself took 6 whole days to create this world, then who are we to not take the time to wait on our heart's desires? In Isaiah chapter 40 verses 31, it states, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." Welcome everyone to Chronicles with Stephie, the podcast, Season 3, Episode 1. Think of a word, a positive word, and it may just be a chronicle shared in this space. Let's make life more meaningful. And we're back! In live and living color, we are back, lifestylers, gems. Hello, hello, hello. We did it, we made it, we are back, we are back, we're back, we're back. Hey, we are back, we're back, we're back, we're back. Hey, that's a little bop. I wonder if I can turn it into a tune, but yeah. Welcome everybody back to this space on the internet that we are curating to make life more meaningful. I missed y'all. I will not sit here and tell a lie. I missed recording. I missed, having those creative juices and energies flowing through me, to just evoke onto every listener these episodes, these chronicles. And here we are. In the final month of the year. Thank God. We made it. Through His grace, through His power, through His might, through His infinite wisdom, we are here. And let's just take a moment to express our gratitude for that. So many persons didn't journey into this new month, this final month of this year that flew by very quickly, might I add. But we did. And, we don't take that with a grain of salt, but we truly express our gratitude to God the Father. And, for those in our safekeeping that have ushered us and have aided us into seeing this final month in December. So without further ado, if this is something that you have enjoyed, or you think you will enjoy, or if you just enjoy listening to my voice, let's get into today's episode. Patience Chronicles. Today, I implore us all, before even clicking off of this episode, just to wait and be patient in listening to the very end. In this fast-paced moving world where things just arrive at the click of a button, or rather in the blink of an eye, at the tips of our fingers, the idea of being patient seems to be extremely trivial. I myself am guilty. I will confess, I am guilty, because from my eye to my knee, that's a Jamaican saying, from my eyes have been at my knees, just wanting what I, both wanted and needed at the same time, just wanting it right away. I have been very impatient. I struggle tremendously, with having to be patient in achieving that which I desire, especially in my earlier years. I didn't, or rather I refused to encourage my mind to learn and understand patience. And, one thing for certain, I said this before, if you don't control your mind or your thoughts, it will do it for you. Yep, so, I struggle tremendously with learning and understanding how to be patient, when to be patient, with whom to be patient with. I struggle with that. Almost like essentially life having to humble you from time to time. That's what patience did for me. And let me tell you, please, don't wait on life to humble you. Take it from me, take it from this voice that you're currently listening to. Do not wait on life to humble you. I had no choice but to submit and surrender, any so-called power, quote unquote power that I thought I had. And I had to learn patience. And for me, I think that's where learning and understanding patience truly begins, through surrendering. We can agree to disagree, but I think in all things that you're trying to learn, relearn, understand, comprehend, effect in your life, I think it comes with total and complete submission and surrendering. A repetitively listened song in my repertoire of music, because I'm a music girl oh my goodness, I know y'all should know. And if you're new here, go catch up back on seasons 1 and 2, because I give some pretty good music, okay? So, a repetitively listened song in my very popular praise and worship playlist, and believe me when I tell you, it's popular, because my treasured human beings, you know, those gems I surround myself with, them will tell you that I always have some good selection of music. So, one of those songs is Wait on You by Elevation Worship and Maverick City. That is, and I say this with the utmost truth, it is immediately followed in the playlist by I Don't Mind Waiting by Dr. Juanita Bynum. Let me tell you something. See them the two songs, those two songs, woo-wee! Those two powerful songs help to keep me in check, okay? Because I don't want life to do it for me. I am done with life humbling me. I've committed myself to just completely letting go and surrendering, because living is hard as it is, and I'm not going to be about hanging on to things and clutching things to my core that I have no control over. I don't have the power. So those two songs keep me in check. So I implore you, you know, just stop and ponder, though. Just stop for a second and ponder that the desires we so badly and work exhaustingly to achieve, does it truly serve us? Does it truly serve our great purpose, the purpose that God planted in us? While in wait for a particular desire, ask yourself if this will further the work of the Lord He has tasked you with. Ask if it's more for self-gratification rather than building God's kingdom. To what extent, though? To what extent, truly? To what extent shall we go to achieve a seed that was not planted in our lives? That is thought-provoking. To what extent shall we go to achieve a seed that was not planted for our lives? How weak do we become in not exercising patience for a seed that was never planted? It never existed. The thing that we run down the most, where we name never depend on it, that's not our blessing. That is not to enter into our life. That should not take space or hold space in our energy. It doesn't exist. Yet still, we go beyond the length of the earth to try and attain something, because why? We desire it, because we're impatient. We think we should have it and next man have it. Our names are never on it to attain. And I can tell it's a devastating experience, patiently exuding behaviors of desires that never come to fruition. I'll say that again. It is a devastating experience, patiently exuding behaviors of desires that will never come to fruition. You're waiting on something that, again, Marky, was not for you in the first place, but you sit and wait, and it never comes to fruition. That is a painstakingly difficult experience to undertake. And in my humble opinion, the fast life, the fast money, the fast this, the fast that, it fizzles out even more quickly than the time actually waiting for it. And then you ponder again, was it worth it to begin with? In Psalms 27 verse 14, it instructs us to wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and He shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. I will always be an advocate for all things come from God. I will always say that there is nothing that exists on this God-green earth that He did not plant, that He did not initiate, instruct, that He did not give the thought towards us as His children. We don't come up with this whole concept on our own. It's not out of the thin air. Well, if it's from God, it definitely out of thin air, because sometimes the blessing can come out of thin air. You see, you're like, I was not expecting this. So everything comes from God. Love comes from God. Kindness comes from God. So too patience. Patience comes from the Lord. And it's an art being patient. It's an art learning to wait. It's an art surrendering and being patient. To lie in wait, it's an art. It's a skill. It's a habit that must and should be developed. You can agree or disagree. And you can leave your comments. Your comments are kind of dry. Y'all don't want to comment? Y'all can feel free to comment, your thoughts, on any of the chronicles or episodes that I share. Feel free. But let's not go off too much on a tangent. There's a reason God imparts His knowledge to us, and it's to help us from fizzling or burning out. Just like the fast life, fast money, fast car. There's a reason. It is to help us navigate living this very simple life. Life is simple. I say this all the time. The living might be hard, but life is simple. And patience is just a virtue that every human being should possess. Not for desires of our own heart, but desires of the Lord's will and plan for us. Patience is defined, because I like to give a definition to place things back into context. Patience is defined as a capacity to accept or tolerate delays without being anxious. Delays. Once that seed has been planted for you, give it some time to nurture and grow, man. You have to water it a little bit. You're not going to just plant the peas and reap it tomorrow, No, it don't work so. It don't work like that. You're not going to plant your favorite fruit today and expect by tonight you can get it for pick and eat and enjoy. You have to wait. You gotta be patient. Patience requires us to just slow down, and sometimes it even requires us to just stop and be still. To accept a thought process that our timing, you heard what I just said, our timing will always be different from God's is important. You have to, or rather I implore us to just think on that for a bit. Think on changing your mindset to accept that our timing is different from God's. That our click and collect in God's timely response is totally different. The click and collect is just God's time or God's way of taking His time to bless and approve your blessing. To accept that the $9.99 subscription for next day delivery is actually a free and eternal subscription of overflow blessings, riches and wealth delivered through the best piece of breeze. That when it lick you, you fall on bending knees and you just have no choice but to rejoice in thanksgiving and gratitude to God. That's why I say, it pluck out a thin air. Sometimes the blessings land on your feet that you've been laying in wait for 19 how long. But at the right time, He says it, at the right time, the Lord will make it happen. When you're due for it is when you will get it. Just be patient. And in your patience, try not to grumble, because the song speaks about that. Wait on You by Elevation Worship, it speaks about that. If we just wait and not complain, wait and praise, I'm telling you, sometimes your blessing will hit you like a storm. So the possessions and traits that you truly desire, it most times, as I keep reiterating, it comes out of nowhere. And guess what? Most importantly, it does not come at a price to God. You're free. You're free, You're free because it was always for you. And sometimes, because we're impatient, because we don't exercise our due diligence in being patient, we spend a lot of time. Sometimes we may even spend our financial resources to attain which was indeed planted for you, but you took it before you reaped the harvest, before it was ready. With God, it's free. There's no tax, there's no shipping or handling, there's no express payment. God tells us very plainly, seek His kingdom first. Forsake everything and everyone else. Then and only then will He add every single thing else onto us. But it comes with patience. When He developed this earth, it took Him 6 days. And God is almighty. You think Him really couldn't do it in like an hour? If He Himself took 6 whole days Who are we to not take our time to be patient on our heart's desires? So nothing compares or will ever matter more than waiting on the Lord to bless you. And of course, pause or stop. Because again, we're not naive. It is sometimes extremely difficult and hard for waiting. I told you about my own testimony of how difficult it was me in my younger years to wait. I had no concept. First of all, I had no concept of time when I was younger. I wanted what I wanted right now and then. So if I envisioned it, I wanted it to happen right away. So I can tell you that being patient is arduously a difficult task. So we're not even going to debate on that. I'd love for this podcast to amass 100 subscribers at the end of the year. At the end of this month, which is a couple of days from now, I'd love, to see my subscriber count move to 100. And don't get me wrong, it's not for my advancement. That's not the main purpose. But so that this 20-minute, give or take 15 to 20 minute podcast episodes can aid in making someone's life more meaningful. So I have to wait. Will it ever get there? Yes. God has instructed me that it will. This will grow beyond. Because this is for His furtherance, not mine. So you see, that's what I spoke about earlier. So badly with that, we want the things that work exhausting to achieve. If it truly serves a great purpose, yes. In this case, this serves a greater purpose. I hope we can appreciate that. Of course, we'd love to see another example for wars to cease, for suffering and strife to end. We'd love to see that. We'd love to see an end to unrighteousness, but again, it's not for my own advancement. That's not the main purpose, but to live in a world where peace and love abound, so that we can be better equipped to advance the purpose of the Lord. I tell you, things don't work well in chaos. Things don't work well in complaining and grumbling. Things don't work well in impatience. There's an equilibrium for a reason. So what it is that we're waiting on, does it further the Lord? Does it renew and strengthen our purpose in Him? Now, human beings stay caught up in flesh. We stay caught up in flesh. We stay caught up in ego. We stay caught up in material accolades and possessions that we remain so far from God. And it's not until we need His help with these earthly desires that's when we remember that He's there. That's so unfair. And I'm not by any means saying that we are not to enjoy the wisdom God shared with us to create these tangible possessions while we're here in the land of the living. By no means, because I love a Ferrero Rocher chocolate. That's a desire of my heart, to just 24/7 just be surrounded by Ferrero Rocher chocolates. I don't want to say to myself, okay, I can only have it for today, but not tomorrow. We have to be patient again to wait until, next week, or wait until, this and that. I want to eat Ferrero Rocher chocolates every day. That's my favorite chocolate, if you're not picking up on that. But yeah. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't enjoy these tangible possessions that we have to experience. I'm not saying that any at all. But how do these possessions advance God's kingdom? That's the question that I'd love for us to keep in mind. In waiting, whatever it is that we desire or not desire, because sometimes we don't even know what we desire, as a matter of fact. But we want something, but we don't know what it is. And we're waiting and we're like, oh God, why you can't just tell me? And sometimes you're not supposed to be waiting on anything. You're supposed to just be living your life. But keep that in mind. Does it advance God's kingdom? Why accumulate such a vast position in the first place, in a temporary space? Especially if you have the consciousness that it cannot and will never come with us when we are called. Time will not come with us. Time will cease to exist when we are called. We're just going to be dead. So to what extent will we go? Riches don't last forever, as Buju Banton has stated. If you don't know Buju Banton, ladies and gentlemen, he is a well-renowned musician and artist from Jamaica. So you should take a listen to his songs. I don't remember the name of that song that it is, but he says riches don't last forever. Salvation lasts forever, and it would be remiss of us not to be disciplined in patience, in understanding God's word, His plans for a purpose, patient in prayer, patient in forgiveness, patient in love, patient in gratitude, patient in understanding, patient in listening. accumulating, helping, uplifting, encouraging, motivating, even sharing unsolicited and unkind experiences. I think sometimes we should be patient and not even do it to begin with. Things that are not positively uplifting, things that are negatively promoting. I really think we should be patient before we hit that send button. Exercise a little bit more critical thinking. That's my humble opinion. The list goes on. We should learn to be patient in a plethora of things, a plethora of experiences, a plethora of accolades, a plethora of tangible possessions. Truly should learn to wait upon the Lord so that He can renew our strength. I'll end this episode with another scripture. It comes from Psalms 37. It instructs us to fret not thyself because of who prospereth, that we should rest in the Lord and wait patiently for Him. So I implore each of us, focus on your own store basket and add one cocoa to it. And in due season, when the harvest is ready, when God has blessed it richly, feel free to enjoy it and share. But never go ahead of God. Be patient in the Lord. And again, I say, be patient. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you were patient enough to listen to the very end. And as per usual, peace and love, light, and patience. And I will see you all in the next episode. Bye, everybody.